hit a deer with my car, and I didn't have my car, and I was in a rental, and everything was everywhere, and I didn't have no pictures when I got here. So tonight I brought some pictures. I don't know if you want to leave the lights on. I don't know how well you'll see one way or the other. This picture is taken on the capital island of Ifate, and this is where the capital Port Vila is, and this is actually looking out from there. And I started off with a really nice picture, and I'll end up with a really nice picture. But it's a beautiful country, and I'm going to see how this works. I thought I had it on. Oh, there we go. So, it's, you go from that beautiful picture to this is what it's like in the villages. This village is on the island of Tana, and that's where the mainstay of our work was built there. In the upper right-hand corner is the missionary brother David Bennett. He worked there from 1992 until he passed in 2012. And he wasn't buried there, but we had to take some of his stuff back, and it had to be buried there. And this is where he started the work on Tana, and I'll get back to that a little bit more as we go along. In the upper left-hand corner, this is in the Nakamo, and these houses are built. The boy down here with the guitar, he had gone through a circumcision ceremony. And so when they go in that ceremony, I think I've told you before, they can't be around their mother or any women for 90 days. So they build these houses in an area that's called the Nakamo, and that's where all of the business of the village takes place. And these boys stay there for 90 days. And either their father or prominent man in their life goes in and feeds them in the morning and feeds them at night. And while they're in the Nakamo, the chief of the village is telling them about the history of their village. So they understand more of what goes on. This is in the bottom left-hand corner. That's pretty much what a village looks like. This picture in the bottom right hand is in the Nakamo. You can see it's a cleared out area. The tree in the background is a banyan tree, and they grow huge. They actually are a tree that starts from a. They have to start on a host tree, and it's actually like a spore that starts, and then they send roots down from branches. And so you see all of those branches. If it was closer to the bottom, it's very gnarly, and they can move those roots around, and they can make little places where you can get out of the rain when it's raining. They even train these roots to go across the road and make bridges, you know, that you can drive your car under or whatever. But this area, the Nakamo is always around one of these large banyan trees. Okay, I guess you're going to have to work them back there. I'm not. Okay, so this is why we're there. These are the little guys. These are the ones that we're there for. Up there in this is you're going to love that I shared this with you. Upper left-hand corner, they're actually picking lice out of the hair, and they're eating them. Yeah, and these things are they're actually about as big as a tick, full grown. And if you've ever had to deal with them with your kids in school, you know you never see them that big. But they're protein, so it really helps them. But these little kids is why, it's why we're there. This is trying to share with them that they can share on in the future. And we'll go to the next one. And you see that it's not, the dirt is black because of the ash from the volcano. We'll get to the volcano in a minute. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, you see the banyan tree, and you see where the roots actually came down from the branches. And they grow together, and that's the way the tree goes. So these kids, the young ones like this, they spend most of the day playing. As they get older, they're allowed to go to school if their parents can afford school fees. School fees for kindergarten is about $300 a year per child, and they might see $300 a year in a normal year. So they have to do some making crafts and selling to tourists and things like that to be able to have money to send their kids to school. The chickens just they roam free, and the pigs roam free, and the dogs know not to touch the chickens or the pigs, or they get eaten. And so they mind very well. Every once in a while, one doesn't, but most of the time. Let's go to the next one. This is the island of Tana. It's 24 miles long, 6 miles wide at the widest point. And if you look around on that map, you'll see like Green Hill, you'll see Watsisi, you'll see Port Resolution, you'll see Green Point, there's Middle Bush, there's White Grass, there's White Sands, there's Isongo, there's Linical, and these are all just like villages around the whole island. In the very, towards the bottom, in the very center, you see Yasur, Y-A-S-U-R. That is a volcano. And it's about, I want to say it's like about 800 meters. And I'll deal with some of this other around there. During World War II, we had naval bases and we had army bases on Tana Island. So they are very familiar with Americans, and they like Americans. It's one of the few places that Americans are held in high esteem. You travel around and you find out that there's a lot of places that they don't really care for Americans. They think we're know-it-all and kind of, I don't know. But anyhow, let's go to the next one. So, you know, when I started going in 1996, this is the plane that I rode over there on. It holds 19 people. The 19th person got to sit in the co-pilot seat. And I have sat in the co-pilot seat. Small plane. We got rid of that. We thought we got rid of those planes, but this last trip I took, I was sitting on the back seat in this plane, and we went to Tana. They now have to have a co-pilot because they had one crash in a storm. So, and they didn't have a co-pilot, and they feel like if they'd had a co-pilot, it wouldn't have crashed. But I'm not sure. You can see that the lack of luxury, and that plane ride will cost you $200 American one way, and it takes about 45 minutes. Go to the next one. Oh yeah, and I got to explain this one. This is at any time they have any kind of a feast, and we were I had got there at the end of the circumcision feast, and they had already had the coming out of the boys. Then for a week, the boys can't touch food with their hands. They have to have a leaf in their hand, or they have to have something, but they can't, their hand can't touch any food, so they're not, because they're not clean yet. And after coming out from 90 days, and they go 1 week, then they have a feast, and then they can touch food. Well, all their food that they have, you eat with your hands. There are no plates. But you'll see, I didn't know this until this trip, and I see the boys go around, and they'd have taro, a big old hunk of taro, and it'd be wrapped up in a banana leaf, and that's why. So what they're fixing, and this is their prime rib that they're fixing here. This is lap, and the lap in the upper right-hand corner is made out of tapioca. They call it manioc, and the little chunks in between the red, that's pork. If you look down at the bottom picture just below it, you see that red, that's the pig that they killed to make this lap. So they grind this, whether it's manioc, whether it's taro, whatever it is, they grind it up. They make a mush out of it. It's like runny mashed potatoes. And then they pat it out on banana leaves. And this young lady is putting the pork and the blood on top of that, and then she'll put another layer of manioc on top of that. She'll wrap it up in banana leaves, they'll tie it up, and they'll bury it in the ground with hot rocks and bake it. And the middle picture on the top is what it looks like when it comes out. The girl on this side, she's made lap out of taro. I've had it out of everything it can be out of, and I haven't found any I like, because it's just like eating a big hunk of lard. And it's they love it, and it's a special treat. But they'll cut you off a big hunk like that stuff in the middle and hand it to you. And I think the stuff in the middle has probably got island cabbage mixed in with it rather than meat. But they don't waste anything at all. They use everything. Let's go to the next one. This is the coming out. This is the cleansing. At the end of the cleansing, the men up here in the top corner, they dance, and while they dance, they tell stories. The kids listen to the stories. The stories that they tell is the history of their village, is the history of their people. And this is the way they pass their history on to their children. And this is a celebration because the boys are now clean, and they can eat, and you see they involve the kids, and the kids love this stuff. I have taken part in that a long time ago, and my wife did too, and she nearly died, and I came close because the women will bounce up and down, up and down, up and down, and the men are telling this story. And they'll go in and they'll come back out, and let me tell you, it takes a toll on you. It's aerobics has nothing on this. So let's go to the next one. This is some more. This is different areas of the island, and this is all on Tana. So you see the upper left-hand corner, this area of the island, the skirts will be made out of fresh green leaf. Then this one down here is going to be out of that's actually tree bark. It's not grass, but most people think that it's grass. And then this down at the bottom is another type of it's actually a type of grass that grows. It's a big bladed grass, and it grows real tall, and they dry it out. And then the various areas, the different villages, will dye their skirts to a specific pattern. So they'll know what village they're from. And I never could figure all that out. It was too hard for me. But the little guy down here in the bottom, he's got a lava on. And that's basically what the men wear. That's their custom dress. Just a piece of material they wrap around their waist. Let's go to the next one. This is celebration of the women. Mother's Day. This is a big deal. A really big deal. And for the ladies to participate in this, their family has to donate a pig. And they'll have these pigs lined up on the ground. There'll be like hundreds of them. And they'll all be, they'll have them all tied where they can't get up and run off. And before this, it's like a 4-day celebration. And the 4th day, the pigs are killed, they're cooked, and they're ate. Upper corner is volcano on Tana. It is the world's most accessible active volcano. And I got some more pictures of it in there. The gal down here on the bottom, that's coffee beans. And we've helped them get coffee started. What she's doing is she's got them out on the ground drying them. And every morning they put them out on the ground and they move them around. And then when night comes, because of the moisture that comes, they scoop them up and they put them back in bags and they put them in the hut. The next morning they take them out and they start all over again. And they do this for about 3 weeks because the coffee buyers won't take them unless they're completely dry. Let's go to the next one. So this is John Frum. These guys, you see up here in the top corner, on their chest is USA. They mimic what they saw the Army and the Navy do during World War II. And in the South Pacific, and it's all over the South Pacific, they have what they call cargo cults. And it's people there that, because of America's influence during World War II, they believe that their prosperity is going to come from America, that John from America will bring prosperity to them. They also have, well, they did have, I don't know what it is now, might be King Charles, but it was Prince Philip cargo cult, and since he died, I don't really know, but you see they mimic everything that they saw. This is Tom Navy down on the bottom, and that's what he goes by, Tom Navy. He's still alive today. And the American flag all over the island, everywhere. And I made a big mistake this time because I went and I didn't have any American flags with me. And I didn't think I was going to make it off the island. But this airplane down on the bottom, it's built out of bamboo. And this is not as big as what it used to be, but there's still some of it. If you read into history, and some of the history around here will tell you a whole bunch of stuff that's not true about it. But it's to one small area. It's where the Navy had a wharf, and they think that that's where the prosperity is going to come. It's going to come to the wharf. And so every Saturday they get together. These pictures were taken in 1974 by National Geographic, and you don't see it like this, but it was a big deal to have Levi's, and you had to have the gun, and even though it was nothing but wood. Let's go to the next one. Up here in the upper right-hand corner is what's called King's Cross, and it is an area, that's where Brother Bennett started. It was an area that was set aside during World War II, that a man from America would come, and he would come teaching the Bible to the people. And this area was set aside for that specific purpose. So this is where Brother Bennett started his work, is in this area. And it's still, it's where the couple that just moved there, it's where they're at now. You see the volcano up on the top, and if you look real close, you can see that guy sitting right there. And if you're real brave, you can go up there and sit like that. It stinks because it's sulfur, rotten eggs, and it doesn't take long, and you've had enough. And you see these are banyan trees down here on the bottom, and you see how they are, and then you see this one in the lower left-hand corner, how they have started shaping the roots to grow, and you can actually get underneath that one if it was raining and be dry. Let's go to the next one. I just lost this. This is Chief and Eric Village. The boy in the center is Phelon, and he died. I had got to Fiji on this trip, and I got a call from his brother that he had passed away that morning. Phelon was probably autistic, and he didn't talk, but he understood music, and he would be involved in the music. He didn't sing, but he'd be involved in making music, and most of the day was spent just like what he looks there. We had some to baptize, and when it rains and we were up on the mountain, it's like being ice when it rains a lot. So I told him, I said, I don't know how we're going to baptize. So it was pouring down one morning, and they got these plastic barrels and put them under where they catch water for their, this is the way they have water to cook with, to drink. And they filled these barrels up, and so we baptized in barrels. That's the second time I did that there. But this is on top of a mountain, and the concrete that you see behind is a water tank, and it normally has bamboo, like rain gutter, that runs off of the roof, and that's their drinking water. They don't have wells, and they put little fish in there that will eat the mosquito larvae, so you don't have to worry about that. But I drank that water every time I've gone. I never got sick. See the flagpoles in the background. Vanuatu flag will be on one, and the American flag will be on the other, and they have another one on the front of the church building that the Christian flag will be on. Let's go to the next one. Here's two. This is both on Tana. This picture on the right-hand side is white sand. The picture on this side is what they call south, and it's downwind from the volcano. So that sand is black, and it's black sand. I don't know any other way to. But one side of the island will be like that. The other side will be like that. Wherever there is ash, it keeps gardens from growing. So the people that live close to the volcano, they may have to walk 4 or 5 miles to get to a place to where they can grow a garden where the ash won't choke it out. Let's go to the next one. This is in King's Cross Village right here. All of them that are in yellow t-shirts, They come from Nasifo Missionary Baptist Church. This is a pretty good sized church. They built that themselves out of bamboo. This one, the people built too. Every family in the village of King's Cross donated a sack of cement, and they brought sand up from the ocean, and they made cinder blocks, and they got it all up, but they couldn't. They were having trouble getting enough money for the roof, so I had some people here in America. I called up. I said, "Hey, they could use some help with the roof," and so they bought the roof for them. But this building they built themselves, and this is one of the things that Brother Bennett insisted that the people do as much as they could do on their own. And take care of their own things. And the principle behind that is, it's like if you feed a man, you're going to feed him forever. You teach him to fish, and he'll feed himself. So they learn how to take care of these things on their own, and they're invested in it. And by being invested in it, they take better care of it. And so... but I want you to notice on this side, you see all them boys? They all got guitars. And there's 8 guitars in that line. And they all play at the same time. And they're all together. And they teach themselves music. If you want to sing a song and they don't know it, you hum it, and they'll know it. And they'll play it for you. But these boys are from the Nasifo Church, and I preached there one night, and there was actually 12 guitar players. 6 boys, 6 girls. And these guitars are the biggest, cheapest things that they come from China, but they don't last long because of the humid conditions. Let's go to the next one. You see this picture down here in the bottom? I love this because the boy in the brown shirt up on the top standing next to me, he's the boy that's in the red, the black, and the yellow and green striped shirt. His name is Baum, and he comes from Ambi Island. And he lives with Rachel, who is standing up there next to me, and her husband. And he's there so he can go to school. He's in college now, and he's actually in science. There is Frank there. There is Ashron. There is Syl. Dinah is in the red shorts in the front, and John is in the blue shirt. He's the one that they don't look up very much. And Caleb is in the red shirt. Here's what's special about that. Except for the 3 little ones, I've got to baptize all of those. And that's what it's about. This is Ashron here. He's the one on the very end in the red and black shirt. Time's gone along. That's Frank behind him. This little girl they adopted the day she was born at the hospital. Her parents said they couldn't take care of her, and so they called Rachel up and said, "Would you like a baby?" And she had all boys. So she said that they said it's a girl. I'll go get it. So she went and got it. She's a healthy baby. Let's go to the next one. Kids. Beautiful place. There's nothing fancy about it. These kids got clothes on. That's probably they may have a set for church on Sunday, and what clothes they have on, they'll wear every day the rest of the time. Let's go to the next one. This is Lisa. Lisa In 1996, she was like 5 years old. She is now in medical school in Fiji. She is going to come back to Vanuatu as a doctor to take care of her people. Very committed Christian girl, very committed to her schooling, and she's probably 26 or 27 years old, but she does everything her dad tells her still. Never questions him. Whatever he says to do, she does. And she helps me a lot. I'm going to miss seeing her every year. I've watched her grow up. Let's go to the next one. So this is from the plane, and that cloud that you see the smoke coming up, that's the volcano. And we'll go to the next one. That's a little better of the volcano. If it's not a village, it's bush, and it's just like that. And if you don't have a machete, don't even bother with trying to go through there, because you won't get very far. But the Kiwis come from New Zealand, and they snowboard the ash plain around the volcano. Let's go to the next one. These pictures are on Tana. It's a beautiful place, but it's a difficult place to live. There's not anything easy about it. Let's go to the next one. This is on Pentecost Island. This is land diving. They say they've been doing this for thousands of years. They say the Kiwis stole bungee jumping from them, but they're jumping with vines. And they build these, you can see they're very sturdy structures. And they have to go out and they have to cut a vine. And the idea is that they cut a vine that will get them really close to the ground, but they won't hit the ground. And, the closer they get to the ground, the more macho it is, And they think that their yam harvest will be really good. And these vines don't stretch. When they go, they jerk them. But these men on Pentecost are really upset at the Kiwis because they stole bungee jumping from them. And it's amazing that these guys go out. They'll go through the bush and they'll look and they'll look and they'll finally find a vine. Okay, this is it, and they'll take it. And sure enough, it'll stop just above the ground. And of course, the ground's kind of soft underneath there, so if they hit, they don't hit real hard. But I'm telling you, when it stops, it's a jerk. They got to feel it. Let's go to the next one. Trees are important on Tana. These trees on the left side, Brother Bennett and I planted those in 1996. This tree on the right side is a banyan tree that I planted. It's called Warren's tree. And every time I go, they have to take me by Warren's tree. You got to see Warren's tree. Well, it was. I found it growing on the side of a tree, and it was just a twig. And so we planted it in the ground, and that's probably 12 years old, right there. But everybody said, "Oh, did you see Warren's tree?" Yeah, I got pictures of it. But these trees are landmarks of the work that we've done there. We have trees planted, I don't know how many different villages of where we went in. We shared the gospel, people were saved, we baptized people, we planted coconut trees, and they're all around the island. Let's go to the next one. This is after, this is 2015, this is after Cyclone Pam hit Tana Island. 185 mile an hour sustained winds for 13 hours. And there's probably about 45 to 50,000 people that live on Tana. Only 2 people were killed. One was a grandma she was actually in a cinder block building, a school building, and the corner of the building collapsed on her. And the other one was a young mother that was trying to get to her baby, and she got hit with a piece of flying debris. That was all that there was. Nobody else, there was no other deaths, there were no other injuries. And so I went, these pictures I took, it happened in March, and I was there in May. And so I asked them, what do you guys do? Well, they knock the walls out from the grass hut, and they all get underneath that roof, and they hold on that roof. And I said, so how long did you hold on there? Until the wind stopped. So what did you do? Well, we sang, we cried, we prayed, we sang some more, we cried, we prayed some more, we sang some more, and for 13 hours, they were withstanding all this wind. 99% of the buildings on the island were destroyed, like this. And it's amazing that only 2 people on the island died. Let's go to the next one. And this one is some more of the damage that comes through. These trees on the bottom left-hand side are banana trees. So when Cyclone Pam went through there, it ripped all of their food source was gone. Didn't have any bananas left. They didn't have any oranges left. They didn't have any pineapples left. They didn't have any papayas left. They had nothing left. It took it all. And with all that stuff in the tropics, it doesn't take long. You say, well, they could go get it and they could hang on to it for a while. If you pick a bunch of bananas, you better eat them that day, because the next day they're going to be rotted. They don't last. None of that stuff does. And I'm amazed at how well they maintain to this. The blue tarps come from Samaritan's Purse, one of the best relief organizations that there is. And I might be partial to it, but they were the first ones on the ground. And if it wasn't for these blue tarps, the people wouldn't have had any shelter from the sun or the rain. And when we flew in there, it was just a sea of blue over the whole island. Let's go to the next one. This is plants with the ash on it. And it kills it. It's sulfuric acid's in it. So, and it gets on the plants. Plants can't live. This dugout is the way they go out and they fish. And I found out you just don't jump in the dugout and go out, because they have to be built to whatever size you are. And if it's not built for your size, then you sink. So, and I said, how do they know how to do it? They just know. It's one of the things God gives them. Let's go to the next one. See, I told you we finished with the pretty one. This is in the evening on Tana as the sun's going down. Then I want to go to New Zealand real quick. Let's go to the next one. Lighthouse Baptist Church in Dunedin, New Zealand. I have grandkids that are 18, 19 years old, so I'm kind of familiar with the Wiggles. Any of you familiar with the Wiggles? Well, this church is the theater where the Wiggles started in New Zealand. And they were able to buy it when the Wiggles made it big on the Disney Channel, and they come this way. So this is the church that they have there in Dunedin. And it's on the main street. It's been there a little over 20 years. And we actually have, I think, 5 ABA churches in New Zealand. 4 of them are on the North Island, and one of them, this one, is on the South Island. Let's go to the next one. Here's the thing about New Zealand. They have all of these cathedrals. And these were built 1800s, late 1800s. And they don't have church in them no more. 98% of the country is atheist, and most of these have been turned into office complexes. And go to the next one. And this is Brother Gary Max and his wife Charlene. They're in their 70s. They moved there in 1983. Moved their 2 daughters. This is their son on this side. Their daughters married Kiwis. Both of the men surrendered to preach. One of them's pastor in a church on the North Island. The other's a headmaster in a Christian school on the North Island. Brandon, he is their son. He was like 4 years old when they left here. He married a Kiwi gal. They have 2 boys. He's a pastor. And he's heading up to church in Dunedin with his father. The Maxes have been there a long time. And people have a tendency to think that when you're a missionary and you've been on the field a long time, you don't have needs anymore. And they still have a lot of needs. And they had to, when they went to New Zealand, they had to sign a declaration that they would not become a burden to the New Zealand government. Their kids, their grandkids, they have grandkids that are graduating college, they're all there. And they're having a difficult time financially right now. New Zealand is not a cheap place to live. And there's not anything, I think I told you, Krispy Kreme donut, Krispy Kreme glazed donut's $1.50. And the fancy ones are even worse than that. But they have, let's go to the next one. This is inside that building. This area on the left is where the Wiggles did their TV from. But it's now turned into sanctuary. And this is out in the front of the building. They have fellowships just like we have. And all of these people that are there are Kiwis. And they've had to win them all to the Lord. And Kiwis, 98% of them are atheists. And the 2% that aren't, they're not really religious. They say they are, but they're not. So it's very difficult. You can't go up to somebody and say, I want to talk to you about the Lord. You have to go up to them and say, let's go have a cup of coffee. And after 3 or 4 times you go and have a cup of coffee, you might get by talking to them, maybe. But they're very skeptical of anybody coming to them with anything. Let's go to the next one. This is what they're doing. Gospel to the nations. Brandon, Brother Max's son, just got back from 2 weeks in India, 2 weeks in Pakistan. The Praveen, the Indian man, he is heading this gospel to the nations up. We teach Zoom classes in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Kenya, and other places. And this is Brother Max's son Brandon has taken this on as a ministry that he feels that God has led him to do it, and we've been able to do some unbelievable things. God's opened lots of doors, and right now there's a big problem in India that they are trying to pass in some of the states what they call an anti-conversion law, and if it passes, you won't be able to share the gospel anymore. If you share the gospel, you go to prison. And so, that's a big thing that we're praying about. And I just fell into this deal. Well, I didn't fall into it. God put me in it, but it's a long story, and I'm not going to take your time to tell it. But it was God's hand totally, and Brandon was given an honorary doctorate degree in Pakistan while he was there. I told him, I said, that doesn't impress me, but these guys are committed. They're doing a great work, and it's unbelievable what God can do when you give him a chance. Anybody have any questions? I know I was probably longer than what you're used to.
How old are the kids when they come to that ceremony?
Pardon?
How old are the men when they come out to that ceremony?
Circumcision? It depends on their parents. Usually at least 5, sometimes 12, 13. And it's, people say, why don't you change that? Well, why? It's part of their culture. We wouldn't want them coming over here changing our culture. And it's kind of neat to see some of the stuff that is part of their culture.
Will the Jewish do it at 12 or 13? The Jewish do it at 12 or 13 too?
I can't hear you. It's totally different lifestyle, totally different society. You don't want to go there for Easter services because they start at sundown before Easter and they go till sundown on Easter. And no, you don't go home. 24 hours you're there. If you need a nap, you take a nap. But it's totally different. But we have the ability to take the gospel of Jesus Christ to people, and we don't have to change everything in their life. We don't have to make them Americans. We can share Jesus with them, and you have respect for their lifestyle, and it makes a big difference. And I don't like the food, and they know that I don't like the food. First 5 or 6 years I went, I forced it, but they found out that I didn't really care for it, so they stopped. They have mercy on me. Because I'm telling you, taro is the bulb of the elephant plant, and it's no different than just taking a big scoop of lard. I gotta have a huge bottle of water to just get a little piece down, and they love it. Yeah, in Hawaii they make poi. If you've ever had poi, you know. Yeah.
I was noticing that some of those children have very light-colored hair. Have they intermarried with white people or anything?
Spaniards. Explorers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you get that in South America too. The Spaniard explorers, they. Yeah. And this one, the one that had blonde hair, she's had 3 kids that I know of, and all 3 of them got blonde hair. And her husband, neither one of them got blonde hair. Neither one of them have light complexions. But every once in a while, in South America, you see some with light hair and blue eyes, and they think that's an angel. An angel? Yeah, it's just from you know, there's a lot of really good stories about Vanuatu, and John Patton was a missionary there. Jonathan Smith was a missionary there, and Jonathan Smith and his missionary helper, they didn't make it but a couple hours, and they got eaten. And I have a DVD that shows the island that they went to was the most populated island in all of Vanuatu, and it's now the least populated island, even though it's the biggest. And the people believe that it was a curse that they brought upon themselves because God's man came and they killed him and ate him. So probably 2009, they had what they call a tamafu, which is a ceremony where they say they seek forgiveness. And so they had John Smith's family come from England, and they gave them a young girl to take back to England with them to replace the life of their great grandfather. And they're very much into that. You know, if you break your word, you gotta do a tamafu. And a tamafu is you gotta show that you're sad, and you have to come seeking forgiveness, and you have to be repentant. We could use that here. All right, Brother Mike.